This is the second series in a series of new cartoon movies based on the gradient mesh. And I have already, as you can see on screen, I've already saved the file with the small color scan right here, and I have the copy of it that is above there. The only thing I didn't do is to name this one Clicky. And as you can see, I have saved it Clicky. I'm going to be transferring or shifting back and forth between two files because I want you to see one that has character lines that hold the edge of shape. And let me flip to the Mario one, which has no character lines on the edge of the shape. So I want you to give you two solutions for the cartoon. And I told you I'm going to do his arm first as a simple shape. So let's start with him. And as you can see from the last movie, here is the upper Clicky copy, and I have a right arm layer which you saw me put in. So let me grab the pen, make sure that I have no fill, and a stroke of red at, well, probably 0.5 will start out. I'm going to take and draw accurately, knowing that the glove is eventually going to go over the arm, and the arm is also going to go underneath the jumper. Let us draw the only things that we have to draw on here accurately, which are the sides and his armpit as it moves across this way. But now I'm going to draw underneath and take this all the way over to the edge so that I can accurately hold the Option key, grab in, and form the edge of the arm in this direction. Now, normally I would call this a simple shape, a shape that probably could be turned into a mesh. I may try to solve it as both, but I want you to see the bottom, how I have wide out the bottom. That causes this to have innies and outies. So because it has innies and outie shapes, I really shouldn't turn this shape into a mesh. Somewhere in my cartoon tutorials I'm going to show you how we can turn a simple shape into a mesh, but not this one. On this one, as I open up the right arm and you see that the path is on there, my job is to hit the M key, which stands for what? It stands for rectangle. And let me make a rectangle that is pretty much the same direction as the arm goes, or the same size. Hit the E key and position it so that it is flowing in the same direction as the color tones that are existing within that shape. Now let me remove the stroke from it, hit I for eyedropper, and fill it up using my reference color sample over here, and hold the Shift key so that let me make the fill come to the front and fill it up with the medium value that's inside that arm. Look over here on my layer palette how the big shape is on top of the little shape. In order to make a clipping mask work, the little shape has to be on top of the big shape. So I shift click both circles, hit Command 7 to make a clipping mask. And in the clipping mask, I'll say it a bunch of times, but so you don't damage the clipping mask itself, could you lock up the clipping mask? And then it leaves the only thing unlocked on this entire file, which is the mesh, or the eventual mesh. Remember that holding the Command key down or the Control key on a PC means that we can click into the wire frame so I can direct the shine on this. I've asked you before, hitting the U key, which is for gradient mesh, to look at the reference and tell yourself or ask yourself where is the largest or the most obvious thing happening going left and right, as well as the most obvious thing happening up and down. And on this arm, the most obvious thing left and right is the shine, or the shading separation between the arm and the chest. And then it's obvious what's happening on the north and south, or the top and bottom one, which is just the darkness as it works its way to the left edge. So let's place in a stabilization line down the middle of the arm this way, and a stabilization line, and I'm going to say this right, but watch how I find where this darkness would lead its way over here to the edge. And I'm going to click right there, because it's easier to bring 1 point down than there is 2 points. Remember that you have to click. I'm going to say this once, but if I'm in the U key and I hold the Command or Control key down, I want the selection tool to be the direct selection. So listen to what I do. I toggle from A back to U so that my Command key click is a toggle on the direct select. And let me shorten or make smaller the handlebars for that point that I want to move down, and direct this perfectly so that I can place this line directly in the middle of the change of value between his chest and his arm. Now that I have that in there and I look over to the left, it's going to need a stopping line on the top so that this darkness doesn't go too high, and on the bottom so that as the red gets lighter towards his chest, I can have the color get lighter. Now I'm going to click a line going up and down directly on this side of the arm, and I'm going to click a line going up and down directly on that side of the arm. That gives me 3 color variations for the arm itself. Okay, and there really isn't any shadow or any big thing happening over on this side, so really all I care about is clicking right there to stop that dark red and clicking on the bottom to stop this one. And actually I'm going to Command Z back because I want you to see something cool. There's a little change of value if you follow what I'm doing here. Look at how that one curves its way from the right to the left, and I'm going to turn this one into that one. So since I have most of my lines in there, I'm going to pull this one way over to the left. Now it allows me to grab this particular Bezier point of the grid and pull it way over. Now I can actually yank this one over and yank this one over a little bit to the left, and that's going to end up being my stopping line, which is conveniently placed for that darkness. Let me pull it a little bit up higher and pull this one up higher just to fix the geometry just a little bit. Whoops, I messed up there. Pull this one up higher, and now I have pretty good geometry to fix this. I know you can not see it very well, but black is a good color for me to use for my color lines in there. Now that I've got almost everything placed, let's go color this. And I try to say this to you, once you have a few lines in there, you don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to close this group and drag it into the new layer icon, and I'm going to double click the bottom and call it safe number 1. I'm going to take away the visibility and lock it, and then I'm going to save the file, because after every good thing you do, you should save the file. And then I'm going to go up to number 2, and I'm going to call it safe number 2. And of course in that one I'm going to go in, and I don't really care if I wreck it too much because I have the safe number 1 to go back to. So let's now hold the Command key down and make this back into color. Now watch how I click away and click back on it, and then let's click one point at a time. Let's take this one right there, eyedropper, Shift key, and grab the medium value. Let's click up to the top, eyedropper, Shift key, grab the medium value. Let's click over to the left, eyedropper, Shift key, grab the medium value, or grab the value that's in the same color reference. Click over here. It's going to get quite darker over there. Now the arm is starting to work its way to the darkness. Let's grab this point right here and go grab the bright red over to the left of the arm. And now we can work our way to this darker shine here. I think this one's a little bit too dark just for my own purpose, so I'm going to go in here and lighten it up just a little bit. And I'm going to click on the top and lighten this one up just a little bit. I think it got a little bit too light. Too dark. Now let's save the file. Let's Command click this visibility for the parent so we can see the wireframe. Now that I've colored it for the most part, let's take the U key and get into the tighter detail. So I need actually to click 3 things. I need to click right there, not caring what colors went in there right now, because I'm going to start to add the stopping line for this particular item here. Watch what I do. Click again, move this one over so it has a little bit of breathing room. Move this one over so it's directly in the middle of that wrinkle. And I'm going to kind of get close on this and fix the geometry. So let's pull this geometry over, and now let's put in, this one needs to go right in the middle of that geometry, as I said, trying to get a little bit accurate. And now I'm going to click the stopping line for it. So it needed all 9 of those points in that area. Let's Command click the item right there, the visibility, and let's first I kind of need to re-establish the color in that area, so I'm going to have to re-command click it. This actually is the dark points right there, so I'm going to click these 2 points, actually all 3 of these, and take the eyedropper after I hit the Command key so I can see the color back, and let's go hold the Shift key and grab the dark in that area. Now let's click this one and grab the dark in that area, so I have this wrinkle working my way through. Now these 2 points actually get this one right there, which, let me pull this over and pull this one over so it has a little bit more breathing room. Okay, there we go. Look at how nice I pulled it over to give it the breathing room. Let's take this point and grab the bright value. Now, I need to go actually marquee all of these and move them up a little closer to that. Now I need to actually, this is much too harsh of a line, so let's click right down here and grab a little bit of this lighter value, and then we click on this side of it and grab the lighter value there, and you can see now how I've worked this wrinkle right into the where the jumper suit's going to come in. Now let's start coloring the bottom here. So let me take this point right here and go eyedrop out this point below it. Let's take this point over here and eyedrop out a little bit below it on that side. Let's click right there and eyedrop out the darkness. Now is when we look at that arm. Try to not look where the jumper is going to cover, but click your clicky copy and see exactly what you need to see to settle it down or to move certain colors around. And remember, we're not going for perfection, but I think this got a little bit too dark. So let me grab this one point right there, go back over here and soothe it down a little bit. A little bit darker would work. There. That looks so much nicer to have that darker. And this one point in the corner right there, that where the wrinkle actually changes the direction, let's just brighten that up just a skosh, just a bit. There we go. Now that looks pretty good, and let me save the file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the next movie with bugs. So the next movie, actually I might actually do it on this movie. Let me bring up this movie and maybe demonstrate something to you. On this arm, I'm going to turn off the clicky copy, and I'm going to show you my solution for the arm as it changes direction 2 times. Now over here I've done this blend several times, but all I'm going to tell you is this one layer right there was my only layer on the whole thing. So pretend it was my only layer, and let me unlock it. So I go back to the parent layer, which was way up there, and let me just go into this layer and show you the same kind of thing. Yes, I have a shape for the arm. I am going to take and call it my clipping mask and lock it up. Now what I may do on the next file is I may show you this one from start to finish, and you can skip it and go on to the character line, which is going to be the 3rd movie, but I think it would help some people to see this one actually done. Let me show you the actual mesh. Look at how the mesh is a rectangle turned for convenience on the color lines. And I think it would help to see like the variation on this. So go to the next movie and I'll begin with this exact one. Thanks.